principal mechanic.
Alright y'all are about to watch a video where I tear apart the Cleanspace wearable face mask to actually replace the battery. I'm going to give you details right now about everything you're going to need before you watch this video, because I think I make a few screw ups or things I can tell you before you get started. First, I'm going to give you a material list of everything you're going to need. So you're going to need a like a T6 Torx bit. Every screw in this thing is going to be the same, so no problems there. You're going to need, don't necessarily have to have them, but a pair of these tweezers are very handy in a situation like this, so get that. Get you a good Ziploc bag, and you'll learn why when you watch the video. Now, you're going to need some ASI 388 electronic grade silicone, because what you're going to end up having to do in this video is you're going to have to take a, I'm going to tell you where to get the batteries for this thing, but you're going to have to take your original board off the top of your battery and desolder it off, and you're going to have to put it on the new one. But there's a thermistor on there as well, and you have to glue that thermistor to the side of the pack so it can register the pack temperature. So you're going to need some ASI 388 electronic grade silicone. You're going to need about 3.5 inches of 57 millimeter in diameter, 90 millimeter flat battery wrap. Your color choice doesn't matter. Mine was red in this one. Highly recommended this particular soldering iron right here by Xcool. I think it's called a solderace cordless soldering iron kit. Perfect, great. If you don't have that, you can use any soldering iron, but I really recommend that soldering iron. Trust me, you'll thank yourself later. It's just a great soldering iron. You're going to need some solder. You're going to need some flux, and I'm going to give you the dimensions on this particular battery, so that if you have to reach out to this person on WeChat that built this for me. Let me go ahead and tell you who it is too, by the way. The WeChat ID is Sammy Ching. So S like Sam, A like Apple, M like Mary, M like Mary, Y like yellow, C like Charlie, H like horse, E like Edward, N like Nancy, G like girl, 86. That's their WeChat ID. The phone number is +86, and it's 135-432-97686. And I think in the video I told you that I got 3 for $50. That was a lie. I look back, it was 3 batteries were built. This was shipped to my house, everything, but that was through with the tariffs and everything for $95. So you don't have to get 3 batteries if you don't want to. I got 3 just because. You can just get 1 if you want to. Do whatever you want to do. And on that battery, I'm going to give you the dimensions of that battery so that you can refresh their memory, and she can always reach back out to me. I don't know what my WeChat ID is, but if you'll just tell her that you saw this video on YouTube and that she built a battery, I'll probably go ahead and let her know, give her a heads up that I'm going to be doing a video about this, so she'll know who to reach out to. But these batteries are 53.8 millimeters tall, they're 20.6 millimeters thick, and they're 44.3 millimeters wide. And they are, let me see if I can find the original label here where they made it. They're going to be 20.535 watt hours. They are 1850 milliamp, and they are going to be 11.1 volts. So you'll have a JST connector on there that they're going to build, but here's what I recommend you tell them. So in this video, I actually had them build me these batteries, and they're already, like, they have boards on top of them, and they had already connected the connectors to the board. You don't want that. You just want them to build the pack and leave the batteries. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. They're going to build you a pack that's all stuck together, and it's going to be in a blue wrap, but each individual battery looks like this. You want them to build you a battery pack and just leave these studs sticking up for you. You know what I mean? That way you can do this yourself and just have them you know, label which one's positive and negative, or you can use your multimeter and figure it out. But they'll have 3 of these stacked together. You'll have a positive and a negative, and then this negative will be meeting another positive, and then a negative and a negative positive, and then you'll have a positive over here. So you end up with a negative here and a positive on the very back of the pack. So you really want that. If they can ship it that way, even fold these over, whatever they got to do, that's what you want them to do. That'll save you the headache of what I'm going to have to show you that I had to do with mine. Because what I actually did in mine was went through and this is the board they give you on the battery from China. and it wouldn't communicate with my, it would come on, but it wouldn't. I'll show you in the video, so I don't want to spoil it for you. But you have to take that board off. You have to reuse your old board, basically. So anyways, that's the material list. Any tips that you're gonna need? Not really. I mean, just watch the video. I think I make a few mistakes in it, and I maybe even edit those out so you don't have to see that much. But enjoy the video. This at least will get you where you're not having to take these Cleanspace respirators and just trash them when they supposedly go bad. I had bought this one and it was brand new and it just didn't work. So this is one way to get these things back going again. I might even do it on the side, who knows. But anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Here it comes. What's going on, everybody? This is Jeremy again. You know, on my channel I like to try to fix things and just do random stuff, and I was actually just bought myself, because you know I work at a wastewater treatment plant and I do a lot of like municipality work here, and we go out to these lift stations and stuff around town where you've got a lot of like bacteria and stuff in the air, and I've been wanting to get like a good respirator. I've tried different things, like for instance, let me show you, like one off of Timu, which is pretty good, to be honest with you, and my custom made 3D printed case, by the way, if you guys want to hit me up for that. But it's a good little respirator, good for, you know, painting and things like that, but it's just not what I was looking for. So I got looking online and I found one called a Cleanspace Halo, and this is what the box looks like. Bought it on eBay. Cleanspace. This is actually the CS3020 model, and the description basically said that these units were old. They had been sitting on the shelf for a while. They were brand new, still sealed in the plastic, and that the battery life was unknown. Didn't have any idea whether they worked or not. So of course I order it because it was $300 worth of, you know, versus $1,000, and it comes in and it don't work. So I tear the thing apart and I find out that there is a, let me show you, hold on a moment. I tore it apart now, but this is the shell of it just to give you an idea. There's a battery inside of that thing, and this is what it looked like. You know, it had like that right there. I don't know if you're upside down or whatnot, but it has a little pigtail coming off of it, and I took it out. So I started looking online to try to find the battery. Well, apparently this was a custom made battery. So I pulled the cells apart. Let me get that now for you. And inside you actually have 3 of these made together to form one battery. So I say okay, and there's a BMS on there. Let me show you that. I guess I should have had all this in front of the camera. This little BMS was on there, and you'll see you've got your communication wires here, and you've got your little thermistor to measure temperature and stuff. And I said, okay, here's what I'll do. I'll order some batteries. I'll go ahead and just build my own battery pack. So I ordered the heat shrink. I ordered everything you need, and I found the batteries that I thought were closest to it, and they are, one more moment, here. They're these batteries that I had bought online, but if you'll look and see, definitely not the same. I didn't care necessarily that the squareness wasn't the same, but they're just way, way, way thicker. I don't know if you can focus on that or not, but they're just much, much thicker. So they're not going to work. So I said, okay. Alright, so what I did was I got online and I reached out to a custom battery builder in China who builds nothing but lithium batteries, and told them exactly what I needed. So they built a battery for me for this particular unit, and I actually have 3 of them. I got them to go ahead and build me 3 batteries. Yeah, 3 batteries. Cost about $50. That was shipping and all with import fees, so really not that bad. And if you'll look, they even put, you know, the details on there. Everything matched perfectly. The only thing that was wrong, I'm gonna get the other casing to show you real quick, just how accurate, I mean just how close these were. Look at this. I mean, this was dead on the money. I mean, perfect. You couldn't get any, you really couldn't ask for any better. They asked for dimensions and all, and I gave them everything that it needed, and that was good. But the only thing that was wrong with it was the pigtail that comes off of the BMS on the one that I needed, that actually came on it originally, which is this board here, was much larger, about one size bigger than this one was. So what I ended up doing, you can see I had cut the wires, and I just cut them and heat shrunk them to this tail. You know, I cut this one in half and put the new connector on the other battery. You know, voila, fixed the problem, right? No, it didn't. So I put let me put this battery back up real quick, like. So I put the battery inside the Cleanspace, and it comes on. This is the Cleanspace. I'm gonna show you. Everything works, you know. Comes on, begins to run, does all of its stuff. I can make it, let's see. Well, I could before, and this is probably why, but I'll tell you. Here running, everything's good. So the battery itself functions properly. The problem is when I went to charge the unit, it flashes a few times on the LED indicator like it's trying to flash, but then it like it's trying to charge, but then it just stays lit. So it doesn't, it only stays lit at 2 bars. So I think the BMS isn't communicating with the device. So what I'm gonna have to do now is go back in the Cleanspace, but that's why this is gonna be good for y'all. So I just did this on my own because there wasn't a video on how to disassemble this thing. So I'm gonna go back in here and retrieve that battery out, and I'm going to show you exactly how to pull this thing apart. It's really not a complicated piece of equipment, to be honest with you. And what I'm going to do is take this original BMS and I'm going to put it on the battery that they just built for me. So I will be soldering to the pads. If you don't know how to solder, you might not want to do this, but I will be soldering to the pads that are right there on there, and I will be reconnecting the wires back up for the communication and for the charging. And I'm going to be putting this BMS on that brand new battery that I just had built. And again, this really isn't that bad. I guess you would be kind of screwed if this BMS died or is no good. But if you think your BMS is good and your battery's just bad, which in this case I know would be the situation, then why not, you know, just get these batteries and revive a, what, $1,500, I think it was, or it's expensive, ridiculously expensive for what it is, with a 3D printer fan inside of it, basically pulling air through a filter. But anyways, why not just go ahead and do this repair and then fix it, and then you have, what, 2 extra batteries, so the next time it happens again, you don't have to worry about this. So anyways, that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to tell you how to take this thing apart. I will tell you, one moment, actually, the only tool that you're really going to need, I had to get me a little Milwaukee set, is a T6 bit, and I think that's pretty much about all. It doesn't really require a whole lot. The main thing is just remembering where to put stuff back. I did actually end up with 1 screw left over on my last time that I took it apart, and I think it might have been where the actual circuit board goes. I just didn't pay attention, which doesn't really matter. It's not going anywhere. But maybe when I go back in, I'll be able to fix that for you also and show you. But this one's already pre-assembled. Basically, I don't know if you know anything about these, probably do if you're watching this video, but you're just going to pop this little tab up here, swing this thing out to the right, and then pull the filter off. That's where you want to get started at, and then I'll walk you to the next step. And I'll probably take this camera and put it in down here. I'm going to tell you one thing real quick that's a little got me about twice, maybe 3 times, and I'm not going to let it whoop me this time. These little gizmos right here where you adjust the bands inward and outward right here, they have a tiny spring made onto them, and I mean it's tiny, and it is ready to come out. So when you start trying to disassemble this thing, when you begin to separate this housing, that spring is gone. You might as well just get ready. You're going to try to have to chase after it. So what I'm going to do this time, I think I'm going to take a trash bag and put over the unit when I start to disassemble just to get this piece out, just to catch it, so when it don't, because I had to sweep the whole office, and my office is really not, well, it's junky. I mean, not purposely, but it's junky. And I like to never found the springs. If I had never found the springs, then it'd be game over. So I will tell you that much. You do want to make sure that you go ahead and you either put this thing inside of a box when you start to disassemble it, like put the box, like leave it open on its side and put it in there so it can catch and hit, or do like I'm going to do just to get these pieces out. It's just one of the first steps. Put your bag over it and catch that spring so that you don't have to worry about that. The next step that you're probably going to want to go ahead and do is take your razor blade and cut through that sticker right there. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all it's going to be. The rest of it, you push down on this button right here, and you can go ahead and pull these little things out like that. And you can do the same thing on the other side. Pull them all the way out, just like that. And then we're going to work on taking these tiny little screws loose. And we can do this together. There's these little, basically there's these little bands that hold this silicone piece onto the actual unit. You'll just take these screws and back them out, and you'll start to see that that thing separates right there. It's just a little 2-part clamp. Just back it out, the screw stays in it. You don't even have to worry about that because it's plastic, so it's not going to go anywhere. Do the same thing on the other one over here. Spin your unit around. And if the screws do come out, you know, just save them somewhere. But just take the bands. You can actually take them all the way off. Like I said, they're just a flexible plastic band like that right there. Just take them all the way off. Or if you want to remember how they go, it doesn't really matter, but you can just slide it down the band like that and leave it on there. It's just up to you. Then slide your silicone pieces off from around the edge right there. And probably what would be best to do would be to, well, it doesn't matter. There's no need in it really. If you want to remember, like, you know, up and down, well, you'll figure it out. Just watch the video. Anyways, lay that to the side. And then what you're going to end up with is this right here. The only thing that I want you to pay attention to right now is this bar up in here. It is actually, it comes out. So it's actually kind of like a guide, I thought, when I pulled this thing apart. And I couldn't hardly figure out where it went back, because it had been, by the time I took this thing apart, it was probably, I don't know, a month later before I was able to actually get back on it. But that bar goes right back here in this gap, and it's actually to help you hold that filter on. That filter kind of clicks around that bar and then swings down, and it comes up underneath this, and then this pins it back into place. So just keep in mind that bar right there, that's where it goes. If when you get this thing apart, you won't be scratching your head like I was doing. So but yeah, alright, so the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to bring you on in a little bit closer now so that we can start working this thing a little bit. And I got to make sure you're seeing what you need to be seeing here, and that I'm not actually blocking your view. Give me just a moment. Adjust this thing. Let's see here. Alright, I'm going to tilt you down. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Let me find where it's looking at. Right about here, huh? Nope. What about right here? Yeah, it's a good view. I'll try to stay out of the camera here. Alright, so what we're going to do, you don't have a whole lot of screws. You can see every one of them. You got one screw, 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 one screw. And that's really all you got. The easiest thing to do, even when you put this back together with these things, is only do one half. Go ahead and take out, you know, like these two, and maybe these two. But do not take out these two screws yet on the other side that are helping to hold this piece in. Matter of fact, we may just try to take out 4. Work on one side at a time. And when you put the thing back together, go ahead and put one piece back in, and then tighten this side down, because I had it all put together, and I was trying to line up. You know, when you get through, you got to kind of line these holes up right here. I was trying to line it up, and then they both took off again. And I had to, that's whenever honestly, I was about to start crying. I ain't going to lie to you. Make a grown man cry when something like that happens. But, so yeah, we're going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and get a trash bag real quick, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So let's get a bag. Trash bag, grocery bag. Anything you can really find to work with. But a nice little Senate bag, you know what I'm saying? I wonder if I could use like something smaller that you guys can see through without shooting myself in the foot here. Let's see if I can find like a ziploc. Because a trash bag will be much easier, but for you to be able to see what I'm doing, I may regret this and may never finish the repair. What I'm going to do right now is just keep my fingers squeezing this component together, and I'm going to start taking these screws out right here. So there's not that many screws, just kind of, and they're all the same. They're not like an iPhone or something, so you don't have to worry about keeping up with which one's which. That's always a positive. You know, most companies don't like to do that. They like to kind of screw you over. The goal here was to actually pause my phone during certain points with my S Pen, so you guys didn't have to watch the whole process here, but apparently you can't set your S Pen to pause your phone. You can only do the start stop function, which then I would have to piece all this together in the end, and I guess that's not much of a problem, but maybe I'll just speed this process up for you every time I go to do the screws. Alright, let's just start with these. Turn it over and shake out what you can. Anything that's going to loosely come out. Two of them. They're black screws, so get ready to. If you're working on a black countertop like I'm doing, then you know how that is. They're all loose, but I was trying to. You also know how they like to take off after the fact if you don't go ahead and get them out of the housing. So I'm trying to get ahead of that one. Come on out of there. We got a stubborn one. Anyways, we're not going to worry about it. Alright, this is the part I'm telling you about. I've got my hand squeezing this whole half together. I'm going to slide this into the Ziploc bag here. Maybe. Hopefully. I think actually, watch this. I think we can go ahead and separate it, and the spring should try to fly out along with the piece. Let's see if we can do it. She's out of there. Alright, let's see. Let's see if we captured both the spring. Yes, we did. So go ahead and just put it in a Ziploc bag and separate it. And you see what I'm talking about? You see this spring and you see this piece here? That's what you got to deal with. And it goes back in the piece. These little circles face outward. So your spring goes on the top. There's a tiny little hole on the top. You just take your spring and you slide it over your stud and back into the hole. They're not under pressure when they're out of the actual piece, but I don't know if you can see that. Let me get behind the phone and make sure this is focusing. But you see that spring, and it goes back on there like that right there, and that's what you'll end up with. So you can just take this now and set it to the side. It's not under any pressure anymore, and you also haven't lost your spring. Probably what I will do, let's just see, we'll consider this right and left. So I'll just keep everything, you know, where it goes. So I'll keep this with the tab thing facing this way. This will be my right side that I'm working with. So I'll put everything on the right. That'll make me not have to keep up with it later. Alright, now we can work on the left side here. So spin it back over. Keep your hand squeezing this together so you don't lose anything. Take out your other 4 screws. Or at least back them out. Mine's going to come apart a little easier than what yours is probably going to come apart because I've already been in it. They actually have like a super fine silicone layer on the inside that kind of helps hold everything together. It's almost like a gasket. And I'm sure it's probably to help, you know, keep all the bacteria and stuff out. I'm sure it has a purpose, but you'll never get that back in there when you get through. So when you start separating yours, you're going to have to fight that probably. Just going to be a little tougher to get apart is what I'm saying. But we're not going to stress that. Any protection is better than no protection at all. Especially if you're using this in an environment like I'm using it. And I'm sure if you wanted to, you could take some goop or something like that. And, you know, when you put it back together, you could sandwich it all back together. And it would have a layer of silicone again, but I'm not concerned with it. Okay, so we got these screws backed out. They are stubborn. If I can find my tweezers, I'll go ahead and get them out of there. So I've only got 2 that are staying in the housing, and they're down there. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to slide this into the Ziploc bag here, since we can work through the bag. we're going to take it and just separate the two halves right here, and until that spring falls out. It can work from this side and that side. You just want something there to catch that mess when it goes flying. Alright, and we're off. Same thing happened there. I've got both of them in my bag now. And again, this won't be much of a problem when you get ready to put this back together, because we're only going to work on one side at a time, which is what I didn't do whenever I lost them. Go ahead and set your spring, back on that one as well. You see how it is. Let me show you a little bit better how that works. The spring is shaped like this. You've got this stud in a hole. You just take the spring and slide over the top, and you drop it back down in that hole, and that leaves you looking like that right there. Alright, so now set it to the left side over here. Again, this is where I was telling you yours is going to be a little different than mine. Just take it and separate the two halves right here. Actually, there's one step before this you could go ahead and do. These actually slide out. These pieces here, they actually just slide outward. If you want to go and remove them, you can. You don't have to. You can take them out now. Doesn't really matter. Here's that bar I was telling you about. This bar actually comes out of the unit if you're not careful. I mean, it's glued in, so mine actually comes all the way out. So I was trying to figure out where the heck it went whenever I pulled this thing back apart, and I couldn't figure it. But this piece here stays in. It doesn't go anywhere. You're good. So now what we have, let's see if I can get you a little closer here so you can see what we got. This is what we're looking at. This is the battery. I took the foam off the original battery and put on the new one that I had built. And all it is one little connector, and they had some silicone on there when I first got it. You see this fine silicone here? This is the stuff they have all through the whole unit that keeps it stuck together, really well, that you'll probably have to fight with to get this thing apart. It goes in pretty much every little nook and cranny. And again, you can take some silicone if you wanted to, like a bead, and run around the edges of everything when you get ready to put this back together. And I mean, I guess I could do that, but I just don't really see the purpose. It's not going to protect you that much more. But anyways, yeah, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to take this connector and we're going to grab it with some pliers, little tweezers, something, and separate this connector, because we got to get this connector loose, and this battery just pulls right out of there. So we're going to do that now. So I'll just take my tweezers. Sometimes you might even be able to just kind of wiggle it with the cord itself. It's a tight little connector, I'll say that much. It was tight the first go around. Just get whatever you got to get that sucker out of there, but get it off. There ain't nothing. It's not rocket science. It's just a pushed in connector, and that's all it is. And there we have it. So that battery is now free, and this is what we look like. There's your little connector, like that right there. And there's the battery, and there's the details on this battery I was trying to show you earlier. It matches up exactly with what was on the original. So at this point, you normally could stop and just throw you a battery in, and if you had the right battery, but we don't have that. So now I've got to cut through all this heat shrink and everything and get down to the actual BMS on this actual battery and swap it out for the original BMS here that came on the unit. So I don't know if I need to, if you want to see that part or not, or if I need to make a separate video and then we come back with a reinstall video after this is all said and done. Why don't we do that? So let's end this video now, and let's work on how to redo the battery. I may put it all in one, or may put it in a separate video. Well, I'm trying to think. Yeah, let's just put this in a separate video. Alright, here we go. Alright, so just got the battery rebuilt. Don't forget to put your foam bumper pads back on there. Y'all, I can't really remember exactly which direction this battery originally came out of this piece of equipment, so just put it in whatever way works best. I'm actually going to run the BMS cables around behind the battery here and tuck them up and then come in and just reconnect them into the machine right here on the front. And by the way, y'all, I've yet to still figure out where that other extra screw was that I had before, where it came from. But you know, it is what it is. So now we're plugged back in, everything's good to go. So we just begin back with the reassembly process. Again, if this bar falls out, make sure you put it back in, but it didn't fall out in our case, so we're good there. And reassembly is not really that complicated, to be honest with you. You just got to line everything up. This would be a good time to get them extra screws out that didn't want to fall out earlier. Or not, they can just stay there. But you just take it, there's a hole right here that metal plate goes inside of, and then you've got, you'll see, you just start putting it back together and it just all kind of goes together easily. There's no trick to it really. But go ahead and do this part first, and then we'll work on trying to get those other pieces back in with the springs on them. We'll just work everything in, and all kind of, you can tell which way it goes. If you have any problems, a lot of times this bar will get off from the hole at the top and it won't act like it wants to go together properly. Just kind of play with it till you get it where it needs to be, and you'll see that everything will start to kind of go together pretty easily. Mine's the same way. See, the bar's not going in the hole. Just take you something like a little pair of tweezers and squeeze it. I mean, you see, it's pretty much done. But what you can do now, go ahead and tighten down these middle ones to hold the whole assembly together. These middle two, they didn't want to fall out earlier. We'll use them to our benefit. Alright, so we have it like that now. Now we can start going in and we can start reassembling the spring, the thing I was telling you about earlier. There's a hole here and in the other side there that the spring goes inside of. You just want to make sure that you keep the spring on the machine. I don't know if I can do this and walk you guys through it. So just take your assembly like this right here, and you can either go ahead and put in the top portion or the bottom portion. I know I'm gonna shoot this thing across the room with me trying to do this on the camera, but basically, let's see if we can get it spread up. Hang on a second, we're gonna have to back these screws out just a little bit. Hold on just a moment. They can't be all the way tightened, at least on the side you're working on. You can leave the one tight on the other side, but you got to be able to get enough spread on that right there. But again, let me show you if I can see if I can make this zoom in. Is basically you're just going to kind of spread it apart some, and you're going to put the tab in the bottom there, and you'll want to do the same thing to the top. But let's just do the top first. Just take it, pick it up, and then push it over in its little hole. Actually, I'm telling y'all wrong. Hold on a moment. Alright, so to reassemble the spring assembly, you just take it, go ahead and separate your unit just a little bit, which means you'll have to have this screw out right here backed off a little bit as well. But all you're going to do is, you see how that little tab is sticking out like that? You're just going to take this spring assembly and you're going to hook it in the bottom, and then you're going to start, let me see if I can show you. You're going to start pushing that spring into the body of the machine, and when you do, you'll push it backwards also into the little peg like that right there. and that will make that be spring loaded. Now squeeze it together with your hand and do not let go, but you'll see now that it functions like it's supposed to. So now is a good time to keep it squeezed and go ahead and tighten, put the screw back in on this particular side. These two screws right here, go ahead and put these in so that you don't lose this piece, because it will fly. So take your screw, me and springs don't get along good at all. I'm terrified of springs. They pop out, you have to figure out how they go and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just not good at it. But tighten down, like I say, go ahead and tighten down the screws here on this particular side that you're working on, so you don't have to worry about that coming back out, because you can put everything else back together with those in. And now you can retighten down that screw right there as well. So now let's back this screw off, so we have a little more room to separate this side. I guess you could technically take it all the way out if you want to back it all the way out. And we're going to do the same thing for this side. So now we got to work on getting this one in. So I'm going to get this installed, and then I'm going to come back to you with another next step or whatever. Alright, here's a little word of advice, because I just tried 2 attempts and failed on the video to show you. Make sure the spring is facing up towards the buttons. That's the way it's supposed to be. I've got this other half separated now, so we're going to feed this bottom portion in, and then we're going to take it and we're going to make sure we put pressure against the spring on the frame of the machine, slide it over into the hole and drop it down. Alright, now keep this kind of squeezed together, because my rod, I don't think, got lined up where it needed to be. Actually it did, but that's all you have to do. You have to just work it in that way. My rod's not quite lined up in my hole here. This is what I was telling you about before. This little rod right here, take you some tweezers or something and line it up so it actually squeezes together. Now again, do not take your hands off of this, and you should be good. So then you can flip it over. I got upside down whenever I did it. I was trying to show y'all how to put it in a previous take of my video just then, and I couldn't get it to go in properly, and it was because I was putting it in upside down. So you live and you learn. I've only done this one time, so tighten everything back down. Keep it squeezed though. And you may want to, if that's your first attempt at that, you may want to probably make sure you got to do this in a bag or something like we did when we disassembled it, so if it takes off you don't lose it, okay? All I'm doing is putting my final screws back in now that everything's good to go. Hopefully everything's good to go anyways. Everything's tight there, everything's tight there. Just screw in. Well, wouldn't recommend you do this on a black countertop like I'm doing. Not with black screws. But it's okay. You do what you gotta do. Just buckling everything up. It's not really a complicated piece of machinery. They really don't have much of a, I don't know, I mean, you about could build this yourself. That's not really all that fancy, you know. But these pieces here, they just slide in like this right here, any direction. You put them in like that and they just click into place. You got the opposite side. They slide in like that. And the rest is pretty obvious. You just take it and you just feed this. You just take this and push it. You can either push it on that button and push these forward and slide your silicone sleeves back up, or just push it on in. I don't even think you have to push the buttons. No, you don't have to push the buttons. So But just slide your silicone sleeves back up over the little housing here. And then take your little bracket, move it, spread it apart, move it up here to the front. Goes underneath that band. Drag it up to the front. Easier said than done. Just like that. It goes around the edge, and you just tighten it back up with your screwdriver. I hope you get all this on video, because I can't tell where I'm at and where I'm not. And then get your other band. The connection meets at the top, so just take it and spin it, make it match with the screw coming in from the inside. Feed this underneath the silicone band there, slide it up to the front. It's just a clamp. You would know the easiest part is the hardest part. I don't know why I'm struggling just to get a stupid clamp around the thing for some reason. What is it doing? I'm caught on something. Well, shook. It's spinning around the other way. I don't know why it's not wanting to go on properly. The first time I did this was a breeze. So of course, you know, now, while I got it on video, I got to look like a moron. It just needed to be spun around a different direction. That's all it was. The threads are going to come in from the outside. The other one I had were the threads coming from the inside, which is probably backwards. Actually, that means I've got these backwards, but it's okay. It's a clamp, it don't matter. So, but there you go. You have everything done. We can take our filter and we can stick back on there. Make sure everything works like it's supposed to. Let's see. You got this lip right here. Fits underneath that metal rod. Spins inward. Pull this thing up. Push that down. And there we have it. So now we're going to see if it's actually going to take a charge. So come back with you on that video. Alright y'all, so we're going to see if this thing will actually charge up now. So I've got the original Cleanspace charger here. I'm just going to take it and plug it into the bottom of the unit. They tell you to turn it upside down when you do it. Flip it over. And we've got a little single blinky light, a double blinky light, which seems to be working properly. Before, all I was getting was a solid 2 blinking lights, but now we're getting the blinking LED like you're supposed to get. So I'm going to keep an eye on this thing, and I'm going to let you know how it works when we're all said and done. But I think that's all there is to the rebuild. The only thing that I would change, if you want to, when you're in this machine, is put a little adhesive on the battery connector. That's what they had in the beginning, but honestly, it clicks together so good it's hard to get apart. There's really no need in it. Unless you're going to be throwing this respirator around, which I highly doubt you're going to be doing. I don't see a need in it. So I would probably call that a success, in my opinion. I'm going to take the thing and leave it here and let it continue to charge. And I'll come back to you with another video letting you see how it works to make sure everything was good. So thank y'all for watching the video. I know my videos are kind of scatterbrained. I like to do things in real time, so if I screw up, you get to see it. That way you know everything that's going on. So I'm probably going to make a video now that I can play before the video I'm about to give you, so that you can know what to do and what not to do. So, alright, thank you. Alright, so it's been all day. We're going to give this thing a shot. We're going to see if it works, okay? I'm going to flip it around and show you what we're looking like now. It's been charging all day. And, of course, I'm getting a phone call at the same time. Let me turn this off. And I've got 3 bars, which means it charged up fully. So let's unplug it and give it a shot. Alright, here we go. So I don't even know how you turn this thing on. I'm not going to lie to you. So we're going to take it, and I'm assuming you would just hit the power button. There it goes. Let's see, I don't know how you make it run. What do you do? Let's see. Do you hold it? I'm not sure. Oh, it has to be on your face. That's right. Anyways, seems to be working fine. I don't know without putting it on my face how to actually try it. I don't know. Let's just see. I can't do this on the video, but I'm gonna call that a success. We actually have 3 bars on the battery, which is great. We haven't had that the whole time, so I think everything works. I'm gonna put it on my face and I'll let you know how it works. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but listen. Listen. So, yeah. Hear it running, and then it quits, I think, as you take it off, but it's supposed to go with your breath. But yeah, so, you know, this is a success, and I'm so dadgum happy because I don't want to have to fool with this thing anymore. So maybe this video helps everybody out. It actually did fix the problem. So, and it's really not that complicated either. Just getting your hands on those batteries, and that's it for the most part, and you're good to go. But thank y'all for watching this video. I really do hope it helps y'all out. I don't know if anybody even buys this thing anymore. I don't know, but I'm sure the newer models are probably exactly the same. The only thing that they get you on is making that proprietary battery, but we can work around that. But anyways, y'all, hope you have a good day, and thanks for watching my video again, and y'all be safe out there. Take care.